Hi friends, and welcome to Purple Banjo RV, where our goal is to get you outside. Now, picking up the trailer from the storage unit, it's always a prelude to going on another trip. It means there's still a lot of work to do to get things ready to go, but it means that we're on our way, and that's always an exciting thing for me. Traveling is a family affair from us. Here you see the kiddo and Roxy the wonder dog there. Roxy's a 1.5-year-old Boston Terrier, and she goes with us on most of our adventures, and her primary job is to just keep things interesting and keep folks entertained. The biggest challenge to traveling with Roxy is anytime you go for a walk or take her anywhere, you have to plan for a little extra time because everybody wants to stop and say hi and pet the cute dog. For this trip, we were headed to Clio's River Edge. I know it looks like it says Clio's, but all of the local folks will be quick to correct you and let you know it is indeed Clio. Clio's River Edge, it's sitting right there. You can see the South Fork of the American River in the background there. It's a beautiful park surrounded by all these redwoods, lots of fine gravel for all the sites, a few concrete pads here and there, makes for easy RV camping. Closer look at Clio's, you can see the whole place is really clean and very well maintained. And what's better for breakfast when you're camping than bacon? Now, Clio's about a 2.5-hour drive up Highway 80 and beyond for our family, and it's located up in Plumas County in the La Sierra region, and it is a gorgeous drive all the way up there. As I zoom in on Clio, you can see it is not a large place. In fact, the RV park is just about the same size as the town of Clio. And when I switch over to the satellite view, you can see that the drive is well worth the location. You are way out in the mountains and woods, and even though you are located right next to the town that the RV park's named after, the town is not a big place. And when you see the Welcome to Clio town sign, it's very clear that this is not a large place, population 74, and it's a small enough kind of place. They even count the population of the dogs in town, which I find adorable. Now, Clio doesn't have much in the way of services. They have like an inn you can stay at and a post office. Most of the time we were in Gray Eagle for our in-town time when we were buying supplies, groceries, propane, and the like. Gray Eagle's actually a cute little town too that has a lot of fun places, and we managed to visit a couple while we were there. For our family, it's not a trip until we source out a local coffee shop. Now, this place does say they serve ice cream, but we never got that far. We were there just for the coffee. They have a beautiful park you can hang out at across the way there, and Roxy here is just hating life with all those people in the park, giving her pets and loves and telling her how cute she is. And then there's these two happy mugs right there, and yes, my 9-year-old does drink coffee. And he wouldn't be a 9-year-old unless he found some way to play with the cup. Later that day, we visited Plumas Eureka State Park. You can see it's real close to the Clio's River's Edge. It's a nice little drive out there. The boy got to do some gold panning in the gold panning trough they have set up for visitors there, and lo and behold, he found a gold nugget. Now, I weighed it out, and looking at gold prices at the time, it seems to be about a $50 gold nugget, so good for him. When we got back that day, Dad got to indulge in one of his favorite camping pastimes, and the boy got to indulge in one of his. No luck with the fishing rod in the Feather River there, but a good time was had by all, because how can you not have a good time in a place this beautiful? We were camping with another family up there, and the great thing about camping with someone who spends a lot of time in the area is they know where all the cool spots are. So we made a trip up to Fraser Falls. Now that's Matthew in his guardian gargoyle pose, as he calls it, and then there's all of our goofy looking mugs having a great time at the top of the hill. This is a fairly easy hike, and the reward is excellent in the form of the beautiful views looking out into the area. The challenging thing for me was seeing Fraser Falls in this condition right here, when normally that time of year, this is more what Fraser Falls looks like. And then what's any hike without the after action shot there with everybody all tired and sweaty? The drive out was just as pretty as the drive in. I love these Forest Service roads. Now our adventure vehicle is just a 2-wheel drive 4Runner. We don't have 4-wheel drive. You can see our friends up in the distance there. There's no reason you can't get on these dirt roads with just 2-wheel drive. Just do your homework, make sure it's appropriate for your vehicle, and you can still have a great time with a beautiful view and get off the beaten path a little bit no matter what you're driving. After a long day, we just enjoyed the evening and took in the river a little bit and just appreciated having access to the cool water. And you can see Matthew there had a blast floating down in the current with his little floaty wings on. The next day we played at a beautiful High Sierra lake that is just so pretty. It'll about make you cry. I'd love to see what this place looks like in the winter time. Mom got to have a paddleboard lesson with a borrowed paddleboard from some of our camping buddies, and even got brave enough to take the little guy out there on a ride. You can see him just being his goofy self. After a long day on the water and in the hot sun, it took some bribery to get everyone out of bed that morning, but French toast with berries and whipped cream seems to do the trick. Even experienced travelers make some mistakes, and I managed to leave the window to the 4Runner open. We were visited by a 4-pawed little creature in the night. Luckily, we only lost a bag of goldfish crackers, and there was no damage to the interior of the vehicle. That morning we took some time out for some family time and then met up with our friends later here at the Brewing Layer. I love a good microbrewery, and this one's great. As you can see, it's out in the middle of the Sierra like everything else there. Beautiful views, great beer. They have a music venue. They have a disc golf course, which I'll have to check out later. And it looks like they've got this community of trails that kind of connect all the local small towns and communities next to each other. And since I know we're going to this area on a trip again in the future, that is definitely going to be on my list. And a Brewing Layer sticker made it to the Wall of Fame in our RV. This is kind of our travel log here, where we collect stickers from all the places we go and everywhere we visit, and we add them to this wall. It was hard to find a sticker in this area, and the microbrewery was the only one we found, so that's the one that made it to the wall. From there, we went and visited a small piece of private property that our friends own not too far from the brewery and the campsite that we were staying at. And as you can see, it was gorgeous and home to what I'm assuming is a mutant dandelion infestation. Still has some cool remnants from previous landowners and what appears to be a really old school evacuation litter for some reason. And there's also this really beautiful little pond in the middle of it all. Earlier in the trip, our friends had mentioned to our son that there was this grove of pitcher plants, this type of carnivorous plant that we could get to and go check out. And they were not wrong when they said it was a trip to get there. It involved a drive up some Forest Service road that my truck was barely capable of handling, and then a hike through this area. You can see here it has seen a lot of fire in the past, like a lot of our wild areas in California, and then a walk along this boardwalk through the bog out to where you finally get to these pitcher plants. All in all, it was a great trip and well worth it, and it made my son's day to be able to see these carnivorous plants growing in the wild. And here is just a clip of what that Forest Service road looked like on the way out. As you can see, it's dusty, it's a little bumpy, and the video actually kind of hides just how steep and slick and slippery in the dirt that it really was. We ended the day with dinner at Moon's in Quincy, California. Went in, it's a great little place, super cute inside, and I kind of worried when I saw how expansive the menu was, just how big it was, but even with that giant menu, the food was still really solid. The next day was filled with all those tasks that you normally have at the end of an RV trip. Dumping tanks, cleaning up, hitching the trailer up to our truck, and that's Matthew there. You can see him doing some of the work hitching it up. He actually backs me up to the hitch every time, and even at 9 years old, he does an excellent job at it. And even though that was the last day of our trip, that was not the last stop on the agenda. Since my family hadn't seen Tahoe ever, anyone except for me that is, we took a side trip and stopped at North Lake Tahoe so that everybody could check out the lake. That stop was filled with all the normal stuff, such as walking the dog along the beach, taking in the wildlife, keep it classy Tahoe, and then of course you have to take the cute kid in this sculpture picture or it's just not a visit to the North Shore. Matthew got buried in the sand, then Roxy tried to do a little bit of her own digging. I suspect she was looking for sand crabs, but that won't do her any good at a freshwater beach. From there we headed home, and that's kind of boring stuff, so I won't subject you to it, but not before I took a few minutes to just take in the natural beauty that is Lake Tahoe and to enjoy what little surf we do get up there. Friends, when you travel, make sure you take time for yourself and take time to appreciate the beauty around you. Until then, this is Jonathan with Purple Banjo RV. Make sure you get outside.